Thank you,
Monica
African
Icon,
continent.
welcome.
Join
Thanks for coming
Uyai
again.
and Yekan
Of
every
course,
Tuesday
we have the
and Thursdays
pharmacist in
at 4:30
training.
p.m.
That's
Spotlight
Farm
Africa,
Mrs.
telling the
Peculiar
African
Family.
story.
Welcome, ma. Good to have you on the show. Yes, it's an excellent time. Issues matters in life.
Messi. Oh
Human
my goodness.
relationships.
Oh
Very
my
often,
goodness.
When it comes to
like
football,
it's hard
the
for
passion
teams
is
to be in a
unrivaled
long-term
and the heat
relationship
never
with
stops.
themselves.
Be a
always
part
feel
of the
that.
unending
And we always hear
action
people say,
on
oh, it's
Battle
easier
of
for
the
me to be a friend.
Fans.
My best friend is a man. I'd rather have best friend that I know.
With expert analysis, previews and reviews of the biggest games in the biggest leagues, as well as football fan banter that never goes out of style.
Like, oh, not just a best friend, you have a group of
They have done their job. If to be honest, if you look at them, they have done their job.
Join us Wednesdays 5 to 6:30 p.m. Saturdays 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Only on Spectrum Television.
It is Cristiano Ronaldo.
One
What a finish.
Battle of the
How many
Fans.
years?
One is 3 years.
Exclusive
the other one
to
is
Spectrum TV.
6. The one about falling out is like 10.
Oh, that should be. Oh, that's something. Okay, Monica, how's it like for you? And you're at the same level of sync. Yeah, because I think that affects how we can say a person is my best friend or not. We need to be able to be striking on so many levels, spiritually, physically, career-wise. It just needs to be that click girl for me, yeah, at that moment. So, yeah, okay, for that particular person. So currently, do you have like a strong female friend? How long has the relationship been? Yes, oh, that's commendable. Well, I have a friend that we've been friends for almost 20 years, but I'm going to break it down for you and tell you how it really goes, because that's what we're here to talk about. So I have a best friend that we've been friends since 2003. I think that's a long time, almost 20 years. So, yeah. So, Barca, what's it like?
I'm more of a new friend kind of person.
Yeah.
Do I have girls who are friends sisters for me? I don't call them friends, I call them sisters. Like the people I tell every day, we're not so close, but we have this family thing where we talk about pray together, we do stuff together, do all stuff together. But we're not so close.
How is it that you're able to tell them so many things and you have the bond of sisterhood, but you're not so
I
close?
think it comes from a place of spirituality. We first bonded in the spiritual niche, right?
Okay.
We became so close in prayer, so praying, studying together, what's a prophecy. So over the years, we became close, and it just turned into a family.
Okay.
So we necessarily don't talk about everything with each other. We know our boundaries with each other, which is a very important thing when dealing with people. We know that, and then we roll with that. But most of my friends, when I say friends, are guys.
Most when you say
Yeah.
friends or guys. Okay, so I feel like so someone that would say has like a long range of woman to woman relationship would be like PJ. So
Yeah.
you've had that long strain with women in friendships. Are there times have you been served breakfast in relationships, like female relationships?
Yes.
And are those things that we believe happen, like being served breakfast in your female to female relationships? Have you been served?
Yes, I have a lot of times, and I think from a very young age, I'm someone that always believed in female relationships. I don't know, maybe because of my love for the female folks or my inclination to them, but I've always believed in female relationship and sisterhood, because I believe that woman to woman you understand. And so that's our firstborn. And about heartbreaks from female friends, I have a whole lot of times, but one of the things I've learned to do is work in forgiveness and always have a open heart, and I let you know this was a deal breaker for me and I can't continue, or okay, let's see how it goes. But most times people just go, and for me it's fine.
Wow. So, what's been the worst experience that you've had in terms of a heartbreak with a female relationship, and how did you deal with it?
Okay, so there's this friend of mine, we've been close, part of this same 10 years group, which is the one trying to fall out. So we've been close from as primary school level, we knew on a lighter level. Different secondary schools, we connected in the university, and we've been pretty close. I stick out for her every time. She sticks out for me. We do good, and when we want to make noise, we make noise together. And so there was this time in my life I was falling out, and she was there for me, and I really appreciate her for that till today. But after I recovered in a way, she was falling out, and I was there for her. I was sticking out for her. I was speaking depth for her. I was calling her. I was giving excuses for her. I was praying for her. I was praying with her. I was everything I could be with her. Like, even till today, my husband will always say, leave this girl alone. But for me, one thing I always tell him is, my friend is my friend. It's hard to say this person is not my friend. Like, I haven't still come to terms with it, even though I know, it's going towards that line. And so that was it for me. She wakes up one day and she's like, I wasn't there for her. And I'm like, I wasn't there for you.
Did you ask the question of how wasn't I
I
there?
didn't have to ask how, because like we had series of conversation, and I knew that this was the time she was talking about. But I remember vividly that I kept calling. I kept calling. I kept texting. I kept praying. I kept dropping messages. There was a time she was literally off all social media platforms. Her number wasn't going through. She wasn't reachable. At the point, I had to reach out to her sister just to be sure that she was okay. And it was like, oh, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. Down the line, I knew what happened to her. She told me. And then it was something that she knew I wouldn't be proud of. But I felt more like she should have just told me, because I was her friend. Even to my wedding, I made sure that I got the friends' clothes, because I didn't have like a show. It was family and friends. I got the clothes for her because she requested for it. I had to sell it out. I went back to the market just because of her. Brought the clothes. I came. I begged. I called. I messaged. Funny enough, she didn't used to be in town, but she came into town 2 months to my wedding. Of all my friends, she was the first person I told, because this person was
The longest standing.
she's the one that I thought would actually be my chief bridesmaid, but like 5 months to my wedding, I kept praying about it, and it wasn't her name that showed up. So, and I was pretty surprised. So I told her, and then she came into town. I didn't see her till the night of my wedding, but she was in town for 2 months. She didn't get the clothes. I almost ran into debt because of the clothes. Luckily, I could sell it off. And she came. She showed up in night to my
I can
wedding.
even see how emotional talking about
She showed up.
it.
She showed up in night to my wedding. We smiled. It was fine. We prayed together. You were there. We prayed together. She showed up that morning to the wedding, and it was fine. And since then, after my wedding, she took me out. And her birthday was close to that time, so I was like, okay, since it was just an outing, I wasn't feeling fine, stressed. I was like, we'll get to see, we'll reconnect. I kept calling after that because we were supposed to hang out for her birthday. Next thing, she was out of town.
Yeah.
And then recently, late last month, I was just sitting out with somebody, and then I saw her
In town. Oh wow. Okay, so you've been sent the major break time. You've been sent the major break
I
time.
saw her in town. I was like, it's been hard, but
Yeah.
I'm fine.
So we have a lot. What informed your perspective of not wanting to have very close bond relationship with females?
Okay, I think mine runs far as family background. I had a mother who never really had female friends. I don't know. I really can't tell what happened, because it would be very funny trying to tell that story. But I grew up in a house where I literally went to girls' school. So I had friends, girlfriends from school. But over the years, we tore apart. And then my mom kept saying, don't be too close to people, blah, 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 blah. And so I grew up not basically being close to so many people, but people knew me. I spoke to them. I was really there for everyone. But I wasn't too close to people. So I think it came all the way from home.
Wow.
Mine came all the way from home. I have no issues with women or being close to women. No. Amazingly, I'm running into a phase where I would have to work with girls more often than normal with what I'm working on, the projects I'm working on. But I've been able to understand boundaries. Boundaries are very important. I think one of the things about female friends is boundaries, knowing when to stop, knowing when to hold on. Because if you don't learn that, you probably would overdo everything and everything just goes south. So I try my best not to be too close, but I'm always there. You call me, I'm there. You need me here, I'm there, but I'm never too close.
But knowing when not to show up, doesn't that stop you from being able to give your all to a friendship?
Absolutely not. I give my all to every friendship I'm in, both male and female. Even to people that are not friends with me, I'm somebody who gives 100% to everything you call my name into. So it's not, I'm not biased about who I give my 100% to. It just flows for me. So that's why it's difficult for me to say this person is a friend. Instead, I say this person is a brother or a sister because I treat you as that. Except you don't want to be treated as that. Yeah, I work with what you want because I'm in the personal development niche, and I always say everything is a choice. You don't force people to do anything. So I would be there 24/7 for you.
Yeah.
But if I notice you don't want me there, I would ask you. Well, once you make the word, I'm off.
So you're big on being able to cut ties when
Yes.
necessary.
I feel everybody has their life to live. You don't necessarily have to always pull people. I think one of my Instagram live, somebody asked me what's the hardest truth that I found out in my journey of personal development. I said, not everybody, you can't change everybody. You can't be there for everybody. I used to have this feeling that I would always change everybody.
Messianic.
I must do everything
Yeah.
for everybody. But in my journey, I found out that no matter how much you give, no matter how much you do the right, no matter how much you read Gary Chapman's book on friendship and relationship,
Yeah.
trying to help somebody grow, if the person does not want you in their space, they do not want you.
In your
So
space.
do not overdo anything. So you don't first wreck your own happiness and in turn wreck theirs. So that's how it works for me basically.
Wow, like I feel like this, these things are deep issues,
Yeah.
but let's call on a very quick break, and then when we return, we'll still be digging this thing because it's just like unearthing certain things. I mean, Pekinia had to unearth, and I could feel like tears in her throat already. What women friends can do to you, they can show you better, right? So let's get on a quick break, and when we return, of course, Connect continues.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigeria. From issues on politics,
Hello, Nigeria. I remain committed.
Security,
education, health,
lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken
every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
For premium sport content, interviews and reviews, join Sports Central weekdays 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Good health, they say, is something you can't buy. But the decision to live healthy is a choice that you'd have to make. Join health practitioners from diverse health fields as they provide you with vital information to help your day-to-day health decisions on Wellbeing, your wellness talk show. Wellbeing airs every Monday, 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Spectrum TV.
Welcome back. It's Still Connect coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. And of course, we're talking relationships, but today we decided to do it a little different. Friendships between females. And it's been quite emotional, unearthing. We've been learning lots of things. Of course, we'll just dive right back into it. Monica, what is it like? You know, you are more of in the church space. How is it like finding friendship and sisterhood amongst fellow believers and grooming it? And have you been served breakfast trying to groom a friendship in the church?
Okay, I don't know. I think it's about my temperament.
Okay.
I build a wall around my relationship.
Okay.
So I don't give you that space to get too close to me to the point of breaking me.
I feel you.
Yes. But I treat everyone the same. I smile. I love you. I do as much as I can. But I think I build a wall. So I don't like it getting to that point where I'm broken. I'm looking for how to get mended and all of that. So as you're coming in, you just have to understand me. Understand my boundaries. And then don't go beyond. I'm not being hard though.
True.
I'm not being hard, but I just love to have it, and people that come close to me, they know it.
So like you have a preset wall for every kind of friendship that comes into your space. But don't you feel like that is keeping you from experiencing the beauty of friendship? Because I feel like, in spite of the fact that we get really hurt from some of these friendships, there is a beauty that comes with female relationships that you cannot get with male relationships. No matter how close we are with a guy.
True.
There's still certain things you can't tell your guy friend.
True.
No matter how, I don't know, I'm big on friendships, so I have lots of friendships. I literally have like at least 4 to 5 best friends. Now that's literal. I have 4 to 5 best friends, and each of them know like literally everything happening in my life. So there is none of my best friends that I'm treating less than the other. They are all at that level. But there are things that my best male friend doesn't know, because how am I going to explain it to you? You know? And like my best male friend, I think we've been friends for almost 20 years too. We've been that long. So I feel like, you know, caging ourselves, you know, bridges, puts a wall and does not allow us to experience life.
But that doesn't mean that I don't give them. I'll have to watch you over time before I allow you into my space.
Good.
So it's not everybody I allow into my space. I have to observe you, observe your person. know the kind of person you are. Are you the type that can take advantage if I allow you into my space? If I notice you're good, like you're not just good and perfect for me, we are good to go. So I have some friends that they know the deepest, like they know my intuition, like they know it. But before you get to that stage, you must have gained my trust.
Yeah, I think so. Boundaries are important, and I think there is a thing about observing people. And then with friendships, there are the outer courts, there is the inner court, there is the holy of holies.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, like literally in everything, right?
It's literally in everything, in leadership, in business, in church, everywhere basically. Although I'm really a big fan of clique and caucus and all of that, but the truth is, we're humans. And humans always want to bond, and you bond with who vibes with you better. So because of that, you unconsciously build a caucus for yourself. So it's a normal thing to happen. Yeah, it's a normal thing. And the thing is, I have a friend I call a soul. In fact, most of my female friends, I call them soul sisters. I try my best. Honestly, I call them soul sisters. No, she has another set of friends. They're all doctors. I think I'm the only lawyer in their midst. Now, from her, I got to connect with every other sister that is a friend, basically. Now, this is something she does. I admire their friendship. Maybe because they're from the same profession, maybe. But they do amazingly together. I think 2 are married now from their set, and they're always together. They don't stay in the same country, but they're always talking, right? That is a caucus. And then there's me, who knows the caucus, but I'm not necessarily inside the caucus. I'm in another category of friendship. So I roll with every other person in the caucus in a different way, not the way they have been rolling with themselves. So everything has caucus, everything has categories and sets, basically. Even the life you live, there are certain things you do for yourself, certain things you don't do for others. So that's it.
Okay, so let's talk. So because we'll soon be getting to the end, let's talk about forgiveness. How to forgive a female friend that has hurt you. Now, so we are going to share between forgiveness and learning how to cut ties with a female relationship that you know no longer works. Now, of recent, I have a friend that I used to be really close to, and somewhere out of the blue, I got a text message of how that I heard her, and all of those explanations, and I couldn't relate. But I feel like from the place where I stand, this is not something I want to deal with. I don't know if it was you that was talking about sometimes we don't even have the energy to fight for this relationship. You have to know when you want to let it go. So I just felt like I looked at the text message, looked at the person in question, and I just felt like, I really don't want to fight for this. So instead of trying to unearth how did I hurt you, how did I do this, I just apologized and let it slide. So how do you walking through forgiveness, PJ, you've had quite an experience. How do you sort out forgiveness and cutting ties where necessary?
Okay, I'll start from cutting ties, because most times it determines the manner or how you would forgive, because for some you don't have to cut ties. For some, in cutting ties, you see that you have to forgive yourself, not necessarily the person. So in cutting ties, I would advise, or I would say, is it worth it? For me, friendship is mutuality, and that's how I see friendship. Mutuality doesn't necessarily mean we both have to be given. If I'm given, you should be there to receive, and you should be able to appreciate.
Wow, that means a lot to you. Even if your friend is not giving, but receiving and appreciating, that's enough for you.
Yes, because most times you are giving, they're receiving, and it's like you're doing nothing. And so it now leaves you in a space of, what am I doing here? So in moving on and in cutting ties, is it worth it? Is it mutual? Is it worth fighting?
Is it worth fighting for?
I keep using that word because I have fought a lot. And I was telling my friends some days back, I have done a lot for people, and they never showed up for me. And I'm right now in that space where I'm like, I think I want to reserve some of this for me, or I'm praying for people that would give back what I've given out.
Yeah, because I think that there's a tendency to get hurt in the process, and you lose being that person that you are, which is a blessing. Because I feel like I've been in that space where I keep giving, but I don't get the kind of vibe that I give. So there are times where I pray for myself that my innocence in relationships is preserved for the people that it will matter to. So I think that that's something that is very important. Yeah, so talking about forgiveness and how to cut ties, well, because we're so random.
I think about myself.
And that doesn't come out like selfish.
Yes, I think
No,
about
it shouldn't
not
actually, it
selfish. No,
doesn't.
you just hear me out. I think about myself. If you do a bad thing to me and I'm holding grudge with you, I need to think about myself. What's the effect on me? And how is it affecting you? If it doesn't have any effect on me, then I have to let go and move on. And know that I am dealing with an imperfect person. So you just have to be open-minded that we are humans and we're full of offenses.
Oh wow. So in like 60 seconds, kind of rounding up.
So first off, I know that nobody can be like me. Nobody would give 100 like I do. And knowing that has kept me going. I've had issues with friends, family, even family basically. People that I necessarily give all to. And when once they fire at me, I think the very first thing I think of is, what's the collateral beauty I've learned from this? What is the lesson I learned from what just happened? Because sometimes things that happen to us are things we allowed happen. I was telling someone the other day that sometimes Marie Clays never used to be Marie Clays. They used to be happy grounds where we used to have fun and go the whole green pasture thing. But because of certain things that happened, they turned to Marie Clays where people are sinking in already. So the first thing I think of myself. I think of, if I allowed this happen, and if I did, I had to forgive myself first and have a conversation with you. A conversation must always happen. And if it doesn't happen, then both of you are not on the same ground. Now, sometimes there are some things that should not be explained. I read something one day that sometimes you don't need closure. Sometimes
Closure
you
can
don't
be
need
overrated.
closure.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need everything to be explained to you why they did what they did. What you should always master is the act of exit.
Wow.
How to walk out.
Woo! Big issues here. The time is not enough. Like I said last week, I will come back with this set of ladies because we need to unearth some other issues. But something that I think is important is the fact that oftentimes the ground that have become Marie Claire, we're playing grounds where we all enjoyed until we started up and then people start sinking. Communication is key to having healing, growing and grooming healthy female relationships. If you don't talk on the same level, it's either your current female relationship will be sinking or growing. But by all means, grow healthy female relationships. Women for women,
every day.
Just us girls. All right, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Peculiar, for coming. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Barrister Alice, for coming on the show. Yeah, so this was the Just Us Girls episode, and I hope you learned one or two. We'll definitely see you next week again. Thanks for being a part of the show today. See you next week. Bye-bye.